Hey, what's up guys, and thanks for joining me for this video where we're gonna take a closer look at my prized possession, my ESP Custom Shop RA-3, my favorite guitar out of them all. If I could only have one, this is the one I'd keep. And yeah, I guess I plan for it to be put in my coffin with me when that time comes and I go down. But who knows, you know? Maybe my son will have it. Maybe it'll get stolen before then. Who knows? But that's kind of the plan for right now. But yes, so I want to talk about why it's my favorite, why it's so special to me. We'll take a closer look, like I said, because I haven't really shown this one off in great detail yet on the channel. I don't know why. But the coolest thing about this, it's a lot of cool things, but this, for those that don't know, is the godfather or the mother or the father or whatever of the RA-600, my signature series ESP. It was in production for like 4 or 5 years, maybe like 08 to 2012. And once I left the road, retired from Camira touring, they stopped manufacturing that. But this is the guitar it was based off of, and just a little backstory on that and how I got this one. Got this in 2006 sometime, and it was my very first custom 6-string. I actually got 2 of them at the same time, the RA-2 and the RA-3. You could say, well, the RA-2 comes first, which you'd be right, but I opened them up at the same time. They arrived at my house at the same time. I opened them up at the exact same time. And I had to name one the RA-2 and one of them the RA-3, and this happened to get the RA-3, maybe because I was a little unsure about the pickguard option, but it ended up sticking. Funny thing too, so my very first signature series Custom Shop ESP was the RA-1, my 7-string that I got in maybe like 2002, something like that, and that took about a year, maybe 10 months, somewhere between 10 and 12 months to be just made from scratch and delivered, which is a long time, but I came to realize that's kind of the norm anytime you order a custom shop from any company. You know, it's usually, they quote you about a year, and I hear it's even longer nowadays, you know, all the production backups and things like that, so that's a shame you have to wait so long. But anyways, Matt DeVries and he got his custom 7-string, the MFA one. I got mine, the RA-1, and we were like, all right, when it comes time to order our next ones, which we didn't order for another 4 or 5 years, we said, let's order 2 of them at the same time and see if we can trick the system a little bit. And it worked. We ordered them, it still took like 10 to 12 months, but we each got our 2 new customs, mine, the RA-2 and the RA-3 at the same time, and opened them up to, you know, it was just the best day ever to see these things. They are absolutely perfect. The difference between this one and the RA-2, the RA-2 doesn't have the pick guard, and the fret markers are different. It just has dots along the normal frets there, where these have the offset blocks here on the RA-3, but that's really the only differences. So then a couple years later, or within a couple years, we got the offer to do our signature series, and I had to choose between the RA-2 and the RA-3, which was I gonna base my signature series off of, and I went with the pickguard design because I just love the class of it. I thought it looked classy, but yet metal, you know, which is kind of what Camira is about, you know? We're heavy, but I'd like to say we still have a little class to us. And that's what I liked with this guitar. I've heard, of course, from tons of guys over the years, oh, I'd love the non-pickguard version and stuff. But like I said, I had to choose one, and I never got the opportunity to make a second one, or, you know, they have the option or whatever. So if I did have that option again, I hear all you guys, and I think I would do a non-pickguard version as well. But obviously a lot of people like the pickguard too, and these things sold really well, and I love hearing from everybody who's a part of the RA-600 family. I love how they're still in high demand. Guys are trading them, buying and selling them all the time. So that's awesome that they're coveted, and you know, I'm honored. Who would have thought? I never would have thought that growing up, that one day I'd have a signature series guitar that people liked and that I love. You know, even if no one had one, just for me to have one was still just a dream come true. And now to have just all these guitars, truly blessed and grateful. But let's talk about this guy here. What I'm going to do is just take you through it a little bit. Then I'm going to restring it. I won't bore you with that entire restringing process, as I have multiple videos on the channel where I go through my entire method step by step. So please dig into those if you want to hear me talk about how I change the strings and everything I do each step of the way. But so let's take a look at this. First interesting thing is this is a see-through finish, and also describe the differences between this and what ended up happening with the RA-600 then when that came out, the differences between my ESP Custom Shop and the RA-600. There aren't very many differences. But this has a see-through black finish, which a lot of people ask me about, which one is your red custom? Now the RA-5 is red, but they're talking about this guitar, the people that have asked that, because it's got an interesting finish where it looks different colors under different lighting conditions. And definitely red is the most prominent under certain lights that it looks. And you see the picture that I got on the screen here, it looks like a red guitar, but that is this guitar right here. Just happens to be the way the light is shining on it. So with the RA-600, I just went with a jet black instead of the see-through finish, which I like the see-through as well. My RA-600 prototype, I think you can see right there, it also has the see-through, but I ended up going with jet black. I just decided on that. I don't know why. I don't regret it either, but I like both. And this one certainly looks amazing. The finish is just totally killer. It's just a really great piece of wood. Same with the RA-2. And then typical stuff, ebony fretboard that just feels fantastic. It's a really nice piece of ebony. We've got this, I don't know what they call this binding, abalone or mother of pearl or something, but that's another difference on the RA-600. The RA-600's binding is just a pure white. Single 81 in the bridge position. An original Floyd Rose. I can't remember if the RA-600 has an original or maybe a 1000. I honestly don't remember that right now. Super cool, kind of 3D looking ESP logo there, the signature in the RA-3. Body material, alder, 24 extra jumbo frets, custom Chaos logo at the 12th fret. This guitar has locking tuners, the Spurzels, and that's another difference between the RA-600 and this. The RA-600 just has regular non-locking tuners, but I don't really think that's a big deal. And finally, the last difference is the ashtray push 9-volt battery cavity here, where on the RA-600 it's just a screw-on. So they tried to save a couple bucks where they could to bring the price down significantly for the RA-600s, and I still love the 600s. I played those on stage, you know, 100 times, and they were always super killer. This neck here, this finish, I guess this maybe is one other difference, but I can't be sure about it. This feels like it's like a, you know, just a see-through, but it feels glossy, but it's still smooth and incredible feeling. Whereas the regular RA-600s have more of a natural satin finish where you could tell, you can like feel that wood, you know, what natural satin feels like. And this is more glossy, but what I was unsure about is maybe this has just happened over time. Maybe at first it was more of a natural wood feel, but now it's this gloss feel, and it just happens from playing over years. And this guitar has played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shows across the world. I've taken it to Europe a bunch of times, and it's still in fantastic condition for being a 2006 and for being in and out of as many clubs and trailers and cases and everything that it's been through. The last time it was restrung, which is why I wanted to string it up in this video, and I got some special news about that as well. But this one was just due. If we look here at that date, 5/10/2023. So that's 2 days before Chimera's reunion shows of 2023. We played here in Cleveland May 12th and May 13th. So this was restrung and set up perfectly for those shows. Played it at both shows, and haven't really messed around with it too much since. Obviously haven't changed the strings. And they still feel pretty good. I can feel the fret indentations just barely, which is my sign that I know it's time to change. I'll slide my finger underneath the G string like this, and if I can feel the fret indentations, then I generally know it's kind of time for a string change. Sure, this thing could play for another few months or years or whatever, but I do like the feel of fresh strings, and so that's what we're gonna do. But yeah, this thing is just a monster. It's got a feel unlike any other guitar. Now, all ESPs and all LTDs feel fantastic, and I can use them like a Swiss Army knife, any tool. I don't know if I used that analogy correctly there, but anyways, I could use any of them anytime. They're all fantastic, but this particular one has a special feel to it that I just can't describe. So many songs have been recorded on it. Like I said, it's just my go-to. It's absolutely perfect for me in every single way. So, moving on to restringing here, something that I'm really excited to talk about is a new partnership I have with Stringjoy Strings. Now, I think it was my truss rod video where a buddy had brought over actually one of my old guitars that he now owns, a Viper, LTD Viper VB400. And I was gonna restring it and set it up for him, do the truss rod, that sort of thing. I decided to make a video on that. And the strings he brought over to have me set it up were this company called Stringjoy that I had never heard of before. But the first thing I noticed is, wow, this packaging is pretty nice. And let's break this open, as a matter of fact, right now. Because this is only the second time I've ever held a set of Stringjoys here. But I noticed everything from the packaging to the feel of the strings. How you open these things? Oh, here we go. The feel of the strings themselves, once I got the packaging open, was just kind of like on another level. Nicely packaged and sealed. I think that makes a difference too. Not that they're the only company that does this, but a lot of companies just put it into a little pouch, you know, like a piece of, like it's paper and it folds over. And one thing I've noticed that over time and under different circumstances with different humidities and stuff like that, the strings can rust and oxidize and stuff. So the fact that these are sealed is just one nice bonus. And my custom gauges written on there, 11, 13, 20 wound, 30, 42, and 52. I'll talk more about that in a moment. But let's just open up the 52 here. So I can get a little nice. Gotta remember to bring over my garbage can. A perfect little wrap. Now, there's like a shine to that. I don't know if you could see it. How important is that for strings? Durability and playability? Not really, but it's just impressive right off the bat. And I remember being impressed by that the first time that I saw a Stringjoy string, and I'm impressed by it again right now. It's got a different look to it that I'd never seen. It's got a different feel to it. I can't describe it other than it just feels really nice. So in a setup video I did recently, I was setting up, I think it might have been that new green Jackson, that SL2MG, I think it's called. And I was restringing that with just a set of DRs. And I had mentioned that, oh man, I loved these Stringjoy strings just the one time that I got to check them out. And I'd love to get hooked up with them somehow. And sure enough, through the power of YouTube, it's happened. And I got in touch with the guys and they seem super cool and they just seem really passionate about making strings for people, which is something I love because anything I talk about here on the channel, yeah, I try to promote products and stuff pretty regularly, but that's because people ask me about the stuff that I like and I only give them the information about things that I like. I would never talk about something on the channel here that I didn't fully, totally endorse, that I wasn't totally behind. And if I did for some reason, I would admit that mistake in the next video. Oh, I was wrong about that or something. But like when I talk about things like the Nomad or, you know, some amp sim that I say I really like, or those PV Invective cabs, they sound fantastic. And like, I wouldn't say that if I didn't really think so, if I didn't want you guys to have that as well, so you could jam and feel and hear exactly what I'm feeling. These guitars, these ESPs, the new Jacksons I've been playing and stuff like that, like if I say that this thing feels great, I swear that I mean it. I'm not saying it for any other reason other than if you're interested in my suggestion, here it is. I think this thing rocks. So that's the feeling I got about these Stringjoys and why I'm so proud to now be partnered with them. And yeah, they're hooking me up with some strings here and I can't wait to get these on and feel them. And we'll talk about that after I do. And if you'd like to get a set for yourself to check out, I would love for you to use that first link in the description. And what's cool is that now you can finally get my same set. You plug in exactly what you want. I'm gonna pop that up on the screen for you right now. Take a screenshot of it. Those are my exact gauges. If you're interested in trying my exact gauges, it's easy. And no matter what you choose, the price doesn't change. You can customize them in any type of options you want, any strings you want wound. I forget some of the other differences, but I remember just being impressed with how much everything is just customizable and the price doesn't change. It's just whatever set you want is what's delivered to you. They're, I think, maybe a little more expensive than some of the typical brands out there, but that's because of the care that's put into these guys. The guys that I've talked to so far from the company just seem passionate about about their company and the strings and all that, and I love that. Because like I said, that's what I'm all about. So this isn't just anything like, oh, here's my new string company or anything like that. No, this is something I'm proud of that I've been thinking about for a long time. I would love to get hooked up with these guys, and I finally am, and I'm very happy to share this with you guys. I encourage you to check them out for yourselves too. Again, first link in the description helps me in the channel if you click that link and take it there. And whether you buy something or not, just browse around and check it out. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself because I haven't actually put these on the guitar yet, and maybe I'm not gonna like them. I know I'm gonna like them, as a matter of fact. I played around with them on that VB400, but that's still been a while. That's probably been like a year and a half, 2 years. So I haven't touched one in a long time, and I haven't had a set on one of my guitars that I play regularly, especially my favorite guitar ever. So if there's ever a way to test something, you know, to A/B something, it's to do it with your most prized piece of gear, because you know that thing inside and out, and I know this guitar inside and out. Anyways, I'm gonna get started here. Probably gonna rip through in like a time-lapse fashion, and then I'll be back and I'll see you as soon as I finish up. Let's go. All right, so that was easy. I'm gonna get the new date on here, which I think it's April 30th. So almost a full year since this guy's been done up. There it is. Nobody can tell you any differently. You were here to see it happen. All right. That's that. One little thing I noticed that I thought would be a cool little thing to check out. So you guys might have experienced this on some of your guitars. Right now this knob is just like loose. It isn't loose on the pole. I can tell the pole itself is loose. So there are different scenarios. A lot of these knobs just can pull off. This one happens to be a flathead screwdriver. A lot of them are Allen keys. And in this one, I'm just gonna pull it off here like this. And I think I know what the problem is immediately. Yes, all I gotta do is tighten this little nut, or I don't know what would you call that thing. Excellent. So that thing's nice and tight now. This goes back on. I lift it off the pickguard just slightly. If I would have needed to get behind or underneath it for some reason, I would have had to pull the whole pickguard, which would have been a bummer. A lot of the time on the backs, you can get in through a cavity, but guitars with pickguards usually don't have a cavity behind the electronics, because all the electronics are just stored under here, which is kind of a pain in the ass because you got to take off the pickguard to get the electronics. But we're good. It's nice and solid now. Perfectamundo. So the next step, I'll give it another stretch and tuning in a sec, but we gotta strum it, see how it sounds. So I haven't set up a tone here. I'm just gonna plug in the old Fender Toemaster Pro into one of the Invective cabs and just jam freely, and it's gonna be just this audio. It may sound like shit, you know, just room audio. It's not gonna be like a sick into the interface audio, but we're just gonna jam around and you will get the gist of it. So I'm just gonna wash my hands real quick, get the amp set up, just basically turned on, and I'll see you back here in a sec. Okay, so I got it all set up and realized I'd forgotten a strap. So get the strap going here. Hell yeah. All right. So, again, I didn't have my rig set up, like ready to play, so that took me a sec. But again, I'm going Fender Toemaster Pro through my, I got like an Ubershaw head going there into a PB Invective cab. And I know a lot of you guys have been asking for an update on the Fender Toemaster Pro, and that'll be coming. I want to get it into a real world situation. Right now, it's just me jamming on it in the room when I use it every once in a while, you know, just for things like this, I guess. But when I get jamming for the rehearsals for the upcoming Camaro show, which is July 19th at the Incarceration Fest here in Ohio, we'll be doing rehearsals leading up to that, and that's when I'm going to be able to test it in a room with the other guys against drums and, Matt's guitar and vocals, a PA, all that kind of stuff. And that will be the true test. And then I'll be able to dial it in. And then, trust me, I'll have more cool insight and videos coming about that. But here we go. Again, I don't really know how this is gonna sound. I just kept the volume low because I don't want to blow out the speakers. And, you know, I didn't want to mic it up and just all that. It just takes too much time, you know? I hope this sounds good. Let's find out. First impression, real springy and good. Let's keep going. Well, sounds pretty good. Wasn't warmed up, but that's the best way to jump into it when you're testing something on your own songs. Most of those were Kimura riffs, and it felt great, the true test. And, well, I'm stoked. Yeah, that's it. I'm stoked. The string joys, the RA-3, make a good combination. Again, if you want to check those out, first link in the description below. Using that helps me out. So I guess that's it. Tell me what you guys think of my prized possession here. Hope you dug it. Appreciate everybody that's watching, especially if you made it this far. You know, I got a ton of other videos on the channel with all sorts of stuff just like this. Make sure you check it out. If you're new, make sure you're subscribed. Appreciate everybody. Thanks to String Joy. You're gonna see some more coming from me about those. I'm gonna be putting them on all my guitars eventually as I need restringing. I got a bunch of sets thanks to those guys. And yeah, we're gonna do it up. Cheers, guys.